Well, how's everybody doing on this fabulous last week of February? Look at all the freaking snow inside my shed. Yep, we really want to close that north wall off this year. And hopefully I'll get around to building a door on this end of the shed one of these years. Maybe this summer it'll actually happen. But February, record snowfall. They said we've had 40 inches of snow. I believe it because I've got fence posts back there that you can't even see that are buried. You know, and the wind was blowing the last 3 days. We had that blizzard. That moved a lot of snow. A lot of the snow that was soft out in the field blew up into the woods, so you can't even hardly move around in the woods anymore. But Ted from Pewview asked how my shed's doing. She's not doing so hot. And it's not really safe to go up there and try and get snow off, so we're crossing our fingers and praying that it doesn't come down. Because I want to get up there and pull that steel back off and try and save those purlins and those rafters. When I built this addition, I don't know how many years ago, it's been quite a while ago, the plan was to build off this side. So it looked like a shed, but it'd be divided in half with those posts. And when I drilled those holes, all I had was a 3-point postal auger on a tractor, obviously. And those pieces of junk with no down pressure, you can't get them centered very good. I couldn't get posts set where I wanted them here because it just kept walking sideways. So finally, that's why that rafter doesn't line up and that rafter don't line up with the posts, which is a huge flaw in why this is failing right now. But I made mention before talking about building a new shed down here and then setting up an alleyway back up here to a bud box for working cattle at the calving barn. Well, I don't know for sure yet. I'm glad it's not something that I did just out of a whim one day during the summer and built it, because with the way this winter is, it's allowed me to see how stuff flows through here, because I haven't, I don't really remember how last year was and the year before. In the last X amount of years, we haven't really had a lot of snow. And let me tell you what, it drifts through here bad. So if I were to build a shed down here, it's going to be a never-ending battle keeping snow from filling this up, but that's not the end of the world. If I build a shed here with a monoslope so all the snow and water runs off the backside, not into the pens, that's a plus. I'd have drive-through feeding here, if that's how you want to set it up. And the other alternative is I could put, this pad is 34 feet wide from this foundation to that foundation. I could put a 34-foot wide building up here and then put a feeding pad at each end, which is a possibility. Or I could set it up so the cows, I can feed them like I am now, and then do drive-by feeding for the steers. It's because the cows, I don't know if I'm going to do TMR with them, and I don't want to set something up where that I have to do it that way forever. If we start doing the sorghum thing, which we're planning to do in the summer, and if we can make a lot of feed that way and make baleage, I'm probably just going to keep feeding in a bale ring because it's nice feeding that way. But if I were to set this up, I'd probably have to haul a lot of fill in here to level this out more to make a feeding pad there, which isn't the end of the world. Or we don't build down here and we rebuild what we have. And now that I have the postal auger for the skid steer, I'm going to order a bigger bit this spring, because this 12-inch bit really sucks for setting posts when you're building, because it doesn't give you much room for error to adjust your posts right. So I'm going to call Allstate's Ag and order a new auger bit for my skid steer postal auger this year. And who knows, if I can somehow brace those rafters up where they belong and then reset these two posts where they need to be, and then obviously replace those headers, which I can get the 40-20 in there and lift that roof up after the snow is off. If I can fix that and then put, those are 2x10s, which they should be strong enough, but they've seen the weather for so long that they're deteriorating so bad. I could fix this and then build, you know, the back half coming off here, which was the original plan. And I was going to leave the post down the center so that way you can put gates forever and you can set up pens inside there. Or for working cattle, I can push everybody in, then I can run them around like this into the alley, whatever. Don't know for sure yet. Or the other option is to build a whole new building over there, which there you're going to have concrete and the whole 9 yards. But a part of me really wants to build a new building over there. So who knows what's going to happen, but yeah, Ted, that's what it looks like. So far it's hanging in there, and as you can see, it's snowing again right now, and they're calling for another, I don't remember what it was, 3 to 7 or something like that, or 3 to 5, who knows. It's never ending. So I started taking vitamin D pills yesterday. This is just, it's ridiculous. And the plan is to add on to the calving barn too. I want to come out another 30 feet on there. So I'm kind of hoping that I can, and you can see them 2 posts, it actually tipped them posts. Now I don't know if they broke or if they are just bent or what the deal is. But I'm kind of hoping I can salvage that without tearing it all apart this spring. But if I end up tearing the whole thing down, my plan is to take all these posts out, go down and get more posts. And if I decide to build here, which I'm going to explain another issue in a second, but what I'm probably going to do is put a row of posts here out 18 feet and just make it a windbreak for right now. And I have 30 more sheets of brand new steel on the flatbed. What I might do is come out 48 feet on this side or 60 feet, build a windbreak, and then just build a roof on this side facing, you know, so it's sloped that way. And then set these posts and board them all in so it's kind of like a holding area for when I want to work cattle or try and catch a cow to run to the chute or whatever. Might do it like that. I don't know for sure. What I do know is if I build this way, the one issue is having this roof slope down this way. It's going to be a snow dam there all the time. But that isn't the end of the world. I've got a roof rake that I could reach up there and pull that snow off. So I can always park the skid steer out here and, you know, that way I can get the roof rake all the way up. So that could be cured. And, you know, I don't know. Don't know what I'm going to do for sure yet. The one thing I hate about this setup is all the snow and rain runs off that roof into their lots. If it was all concrete, probably wouldn't be such a problem. But that's just extra water mixing with your manure that you don't need. So I kind of hate that. But I guess if I decide to rebuild here, I'm going to try and figure out a way to build rain gutters that don't break every year. So the rain gutters, everybody all put rain gutters on. Yeah, that's great, but the snow rips them off every year, and it gets to be very irritating fixing them. So I don't know for sure what we're going to do. Some people tell me that don't even put a roof over the cows. And, you know, probably for this year, if I build on this side, that's what I would do, is just use the steel that I have and build what I can. But I'm going to slope it the opposite direction if I can't fix this without tearing it down. If I have to tear this down, then I'm just going to set this row of posts, build it so it's open to the south, and leave that open for right now until I get more steel and more money to build it. I don't know. But I'm waiting to see. Supposedly I'm supposed to have a couple semi-loads of poles coming. So we'll see what I get from there. And to assess this down here, I almost need the snow to leave to go down there and measure, you know, figure things out again. And on the back side of that old foundation, I would have to put posts beyond that foundation because it's tipped a little bit. There used to be a Quonset shed down there that they milk cows in, and that's, the gutters are still in there and everything. We've kind of filled them in. But I would have to set my posts on the back side, and all the dirt that I dig out of areas that just makes a mess, I've been piling the dirt on the back side. And when I bought this place, there was cinder block walls everywhere and stuff, so there's cinder blocks in there, and if I cannot dig post holes with the post hole auger to set posts, that's going to be very challenging. So I don't know for sure yet. But I kind of like the idea of down there, I kind of don't. I'm on the fence. The way I'm doing it right now, I can do TMR, I can feed in bale rings, whatever. So, yeah. Fence line feeding would be nice, especially for the calves, and for the cows for that matter, but You can see this is all getting tore apart in here. I need to redo all this. So no matter which way I go, I've got a lot of work to do. But when I built this, I didn't build it with the intention of putting cattle in here. And we had just the OSB board on the bottom. And well, of course, now with the cows pushing on it, they've busted all up. So I'm going to have to add another 2x6 in the center here and replace all the OSB board, which is cheap. We got a lumber mill right in town, buy everything right there. So that's, yeah, that's where we're sitting today. We don't know what the heck we're going to do. We're just taking it one day at a time. But we'll see what happens. If I decide to tear this all down, which may happen, I want to save that 36 feet of steel, so hopefully it doesn't come down and get ruined, because I can reuse that 36 feet down here when I build this one. And if I build down here this year, what's probably going to happen is I'm going to set all the posts for the back wall and use it as a windbreak for now. And then I have that 36 plus 30 on the trailer, so 66 feet of roof. Right now, my steer shed is 66 feet long where they are. I'll just put 66 feet of roof up over where they are, because they're the ones that during the summer are going to be in here, and they're the ones that are going to need the shade. So I'd probably start like that. And then depending on how we're sitting financially, I might add on more in the cows area, but then put up stuff like Northern Farmer does, so just the calves can get in the shed part for bedding. These goofballs don't lay inside most of the time anyways. They lay around the bale ring, or they lay out in the snow. If I do bed them down, they just eat the corn stalks, and there's no bedding left anyways. So don't know for sure, but I do know that if I set up down there, we are going to have to build this up and then probably concrete eventually, because like I say, if we do just baleage for the cows and dry hay and bales, I'm not going to want to feed that at a fence line feeder. I'm going to want to just have bale rings out here. So don't know for sure. I did get a price on well pipe, or whatever you want to call it, oil pipe, oil field pipe, and round stock from them to build rails along there if I'm going to put cows down here, so I have an alley to get back for working or for load out or anything. So I did get a price on pipe and round stock or rod, whatever you want to call it, sucker rod, to build an alleyway, kind of like what Ted Kaler has, or Will Sowers, something along that line. But at the end here, I would put drive-through, my wire drive-through gates like I have for getting in the cows and the steers, so I could drive straight through out there. And then just put steel gates on both sides, where if I'm working cattle, I can close them. I don't have to worry about anybody going through. But who knows what's going to happen. It all takes money. And I have yet to find a money tree, and I pretty much farm with what I make off the animals and the crops that I sell. So yeah, nothing happens overnight. Nothing happens very fast. So that's why a lot of my projects aren't ever totally finished, because you get them operational so they'll work, and then you go on to the next thing that requires money. But the wife did say that we are closing that north wall off on the calving barn this year, because that's full of snow too. So apparently she is taking that upon herself, that that's going to be her project to get finished. So we'll see what happens with that. But we are planning on remodeling that too. Gonna move the chute over this way, basically from where it's sitting now, just shuffle it over its width, and then we're gonna make it so we can drive the skid steer straight down the center of that. So that's another remodel project for this summer. All kinds of projects, so stick with me and we'll see what happens around here this year. So anyhow, yeah, Ted, that's what the shed looks like. We're just crossing our fingers that it stays up there and we don't get too much more snow, and we get some warmer weather so it melts off there. You can kind of see it was melting off the other day, but I thought about taking the skid steer underneath there and trying to push up on it, see if I can get it to fall, but I'm afraid if I do, that board's going to break the rest of the way. And yeah, I'm not ready to be working on it yet. It's 5 degrees right now, so it's one of those things I almost got to have the 40-20 out there to lift up on that while if I'm going to replace that board. I don't think the skid steer is going to pick both them rafters up and hold them up high enough to replace that board, so we're just crossing our fingers at this point. So, been a lot of sheds go down in the neighborhood here in the last week, and a lot of guys are closing off their sheds like this, trying to seal them up the best they can, and they're running torpedo heaters inside and trying to warm up and get the snow to melt off the roof. So I've got too much open area to try and do that, so just cross your fingers and hope she stays together. Otherwise, that's what insurance is for. So, not that you want to have to use insurance. And no, I'm not. I'm not talking to insurance about that. It's not worth it. So, a lot of that's my negligence because I should have finished this side so that them boys weren't seeing the elements. So, no sense in even talking to the insurance company about that. So, just fix her. Anyhow, thanks for watching, everybody. Stay tuned for more. See ya.